A lot of what I do is very customized to the company, so there's not one size fits all. But generally speaking, I kind of look at three different components of what I do. The first one is to have an expansion workshop and
Mm-hmm.
take 2 days as a company. And a lot of companies really struggle with that because they're in the throes of doing things. They're go, go, go. And to hear that they need to take time out for a couple of days as a, with all their leaders is oftentimes difficult for them. But it's time invested. And so take 2 days. We will walk through a workshop that covers all facets of the business, and we capture your domestic business strategy. We look at what needs to be adapted or localized for that strategy in any particular country that you're going to,
Mm-hmm.
because you just can't cut and paste your business strategy and
Yeah.
expect it to work.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies do that. They give no thought to it. They're just doing what they've always done, wondering why they haven't gotten the same results. The other thing that workshop does that's really vitally important, it gets the leadership team together and gets them talking, and it gets them into alignment in terms of what are we doing, what our expectations are, and what our measurements are. Remember, I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned my post OtterBox life, and I went to a company that just immediately, fell on its face when it was
Yeah.
expanding into Europe. Um, the reason for that wasn't their product, it wasn't the marketing, it wasn't anything. It was that their leadership team wasn't aligned.
Yeah.
And I didn't learn that until I got into the company, and you talked to the CEO, and he said he was in charge of international expansion. You talked to the CFO, and he said, no, 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 I'm in charge of international expansion, and it's all about revenue, of course, right? And then you talk to the salesperson, guess what he thought? He thought he
Yeah.
was in
Yeah.
charge of international
Yeah.
expansion. So you already had misalignment and misunderstanding, a bit of competitiveness internally, and then you also didn't have any clear metrics of how are we measuring this project that we're doing. Is it just to create revenue? Is it to
Mm-hmm.
expand our brand? What is it? And there's no right or wrong answer, but you need to know internally and thoroughly with as a group, what is that answer for us? And so we captured that in that workshop. So that's one third of what I do. Um, the other step in the process is to create a playbook, and a playbook is a written plan to launch into a country, and it covers all different aspects, you know, um, product, sales, marketing, administration, regulations, all the things that you need to know before you get started, or as many things as you can know before you get started to execute the plan.
Yeah.
And then you can adapt that playbook. You can then duplicate it and alter it for the next country that comes along. But you don't want to expand too fast, too broadly, and try and do it the same way. The third component then would be managing this project plan, and I do some of that as what I would call a fractional international expansion executive. Because a lot
Okay.
of companies, they don't have someone internally. And oftentimes, one of the fatal flaws or mistakes that companies make is they just appoint somebody
Yeah.
internally and say, okay, you're in charge of international
Yeah.
growth. And it's a guy in the shipping department who, went on foreign exchange to Germany, and that's his qualifications,
Yeah. When
And
he
so
was
suddenly,
14 years old.
yeah, and suddenly he's tasked with this. He doesn't really have a lot of knowledge. He doesn't have authority
Yeah.
to hire people and spend money, that type of thing. So a lot of companies will take people like myself and be a fractional international account executive or an international growth executive, and that just means executing the plan. Taking the playbook that we've created and now executing that.
Yeah.
Or that playbook could be handed to somebody internally that everyone's agreed upon, that has been appointed, has been anointed in terms of power and responsibility and budget, and they can execute that plan.